Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in the tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast at the red carpet like the famous homie. Ask your bitch, really famous homie, and you know it's in me. It ain't on me. So creative like I made Adobe. I've been balling like I play with Kobe.
What's the deal? What's the deal? PolitiKan the podcast. We back again Wednesday nights, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we got a few things to talk about. We got to get into, man. So the buyout market has been plush, man. We got Russell Westbrook to the Clippers. We got Reggie Jackson to Denver. We got Kevin Love to Miami. I mean, this is crazy. What other deal? We got Pat Beverly to Chicago. So we got to get into the buyout market. NBA is crazy. It was just NBA AllStar Weekend in Salt Lake City, and I didn't watch none of it. I seen highlights of the dunk contest. But is the NBA All-Star Game even worth watching at this point? We really got to get into this. And then it came out during All-Star Weekend because they had Karl Malone as a judge at the dunk contest that he had a son with a 13-year-old girl at the age of 20. And the son actually played in the NFL, man. So we got to touch on that subject. So officially, Nipsey Hussle's killer, Eric Holder, he was sentenced to 60 years in prison. So we got to get on that. And Joe Biden, he made a surprise address in Ukraine. And then he came back and he made an announcement basically stating that America is going to pay more taxes so that we can fund welfare for citizens in Ukraine. So we got to get on all this, man. We got to get to the politics. But this first subject, man, this buyout market. You see Reggie Jackson, he going to Denver. You got Russell, he's staying in L.A. He's going with the Clippers. You got Kevin Love in Miami. You got Pat Beverly over there going to Chicago. Who you think had the best pickup in the buyout market?
Man, I have to say the Clippers, as much as it's hard to say out loud. But Russell Westbrook, like a healthy, happy Russell Westbrook, is a championship contending point guard. And even though the Lakers weren't, currently constructed into making a good push in the playoffs with him on the team, I honestly think the Clippers were a good look for him. I mean, you think about Reggie Jackson and what he brought to the team before they let him go. He was a score first type point guard. You could tell that Tyronn Lue was trying to give, PG-13 a little bit more ball control within the offense. So I think having Russell Westbrook on the team and being someone that knows how he plays on the court only makes their potential starting five a hard or a difficult starting five for any team in the West. I'm thinking of Mason Plumlee, Zubac, Kawhi, PG-13, and Russell Westbrook. That's a strong five. And if they don't want to have Mason Plumlee start, they can have Markieff Morris Sr. start in his place, make him come off the bench. Let's not forget they picked up Aaron Gordon. Clippers are going to look like, as always, the Clippers are looking like a fantastic regular season team. Anything that happens in the playoffs, we will have to see when that time comes. I do like Patrick Beverly with Chicago Bulls, though. I think he's going to bring some much-needed energy and consistency since Lonzo Ball's been out all year. And then Reggie Jackson with the Nuggets, I think that gives a lot of help to Joker and to Murray, because he's going to take a lot of that offensive scoring off of their plates. Not that they're really offensive or score-first type players, but that makes their potential 5 to 7 man rotation really strong, because Aaron Gordon has been playing good for Denver. Eric Gordon is with the Clippers, but everyone's been moving well. MP3 or Michael Porter Jr., MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. He's been doing really well with Denver too. Being healthy this year, so those two to me are really good. I would say Clippers got the number one, Denver got number two. Chicago got number 3 as far as the buyout market currently. But what do you feel, Caleb? Being that you know,
I think that in today's 5-out offense, the Kevin Love pickup was big for the Heat
yeah,
because he can come in and pay at 4 and 5, and he can spell Bam, and he can give you that 5-out. Especially with this point forward, and they could just let Jimmy go to work. So I think that that's a big pickup for Miami, especially if you plan in like a second unit with Victor Oladipo, and you got your shooters, Hero and them doing their thing. So I think that that was a big pickup. But Reggie Jackson, yeah, that was a big pickup by Denver because Denver's already, doing their thing. And then to add that, just coming off the bench, just knowing what Reggie gives you, because, I'm a Clipper fan. So I seen Reggie hold down the fort when Kawhi and PG was injured. So you got that firepower coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying? At any moment, ready to get straight buckets. Is he gonna be in a similar position like Jamal Crawford used to be, where when you come in, you just get buckets. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good position for Reggie to be in. But Russell Westbrook, man, to the Clippers, man. I think that you got to put all the chips to the table, man, at least for this next 3 years while you got this duo together. And if you can't manage to win a championship in this next, if not this year, next year, then I don't know what the future is going to hold for the Clippers, man. So Russell Westbrook signing was huge. And let's see how this all works out. What's the deal, y'all? We're talking about the buyout market. We got Patrick Beverly going to your Bulls. We got
That's the
Reggie
best one.
Jackson. He signed with Denver. We got Kevin Love. He signed with Miami. And we already talked about Russell Westbrook signing with the Clippers. Who got the best pickup in the buyout market?
Chicago. Chicago Bulls, man. We got the best one. Chicago for life. We got the best one. See, I would say Westbrook, but if we're going to be fair, a couple weeks ago, we were on here saying he was trash on the other LA team. So we can't go like, oh, he's going to make a difference for this LA team, but he's garbage on the other LA team. Like, if he's trash on one, he got to be he like if so he cancels himself out. Reggie's good, but I'm just Patrick Beverly is going to do absolutely nothing for my Chicago Bulls. So I'm just going because of Chicago. But Westbrook was the best one, even though he didn't want to come to Chi-Town. This is just my campaign for the New York Knicks to stop holding my man hostage and let him go in the buyout market and let D Rose go for a championship. Stop holding my man hostage. Let him go.
I thought that he would have already been bought out and with a new team at this point. But for some reason, I don't know if there's not a hot market for him. Maybe if they were trying to see where all the rest of these point guards was going to go. But I expect
Holding
him to
my
be
man
bought out
hostage.
and join some team. But the Patrick Beverly joining the Bulls, I mean, if I'm Zach LaVine, bro, I'm like, why do you keep adding more guards? You guys just keep adding
Because we
more
don't got a
guards.
point guard.
You got me here. And if I'm Zach
Lonzo's out for the whole
LaVine,
year.
I would be looking for the first thing smoking out of Chicago. Because if you don't believe in me, if you keep adding more guards, you ain't giving me no forwards. This is a forward driven league. Why you keep adding guards? It makes no
Because we
sense.
don't got no point guard. He ain't a point guard.
Yeah, so I
And
don't
we
know.
don't got Alonzo.
That Chicago Bulls, I don't know, man. I didn't understand that one.
I'm
But
just
but let's
playing. We
get
suck.
but let's get to this All-Star Weekend, man. So the highlight of the weekend was Matt McClung winning the dunk contest. They said that he's basically revived the dunk contest. He did an amazing job. I've seen his highlight dunks. He did his thing. But as far as the rest of the All-Star Weekend, the three-point contest, I mean, we really don't watch that no more. And the All-Star game itself is basically unwatchable at this point. So should we even like still watch the All-Star game? Is this still something that you should tune into? They changed it to the whole little draft, and now you guys draft the players that's on the teams. But it's like the Harlem Globetrotters, but in the middle of the season with NBA players.
No, it's not the Harlem Globetrotters. The Harlem Globetrotters is way more entertaining than that trash on Sunday. I mean, I like the idea of allowing them to pick their team right there on the spot because it gives off like that pickup ball type of vibe. But if we were playing pickup, it's all about pride. It's all about ego. It's all about, okay, my team versus yours, we're going to beat you. Those first 3 quarters are embarrassing. I mean, each half of each quarter was embarrassing because they walked up and down the court like as if they were doing layup lines, like Jaylen Brown said, and they were just jacking up threes. And I get it, like, everybody wants to be Dame Lillard and Steph Curry and just have like that limitless range. But what are we really watching when it comes to like the best of the best? Like when we were younger and we watched like Jordan play against Kobe in those 90s All-Star games, like when he first got in the All-Star game as a rookie, it was cool because it was like, okay, let's see what he does, because now he gets an opportunity to play against Jordan where there's no help from anybody else. You know what I mean? Because there's 5 amazing athletes on the court for each team, like superstars. Like, it's a waste of time. Like, they had some cool like halftime performances, I think. I don't know. I mean, Kalen, come on, let's be honest. The 3-point contest wasn't that bad. It's just, you don't have the best shooters in the game anymore shooting. Like Julius Randle being in the 3-point contest was kind of pointless. Like, I no disrespect to big shooters because Karl Anthony Towns won last year, but it really wasn't necessary to have Julius Randle in it. The skills challenge seemed cool, but then when you look at the Rising Star challenge with the rookies and stuff, that one group couldn't make a shot to save their life. Like, it's a shit show. Like, nobody's taking it serious. And I mean, I like the break at, with it's 23 games less in the season now. It's not the halfway point. There's 82 games, 81 games in the season. There's nowhere near the halfway point. So I think this is them trying to show us how bad the league is as far as entertainment wise. And then they're going to, they're supposed to incorporate that mid-season tournament next year. So this is going to be the worst All-Star game that we had in a long time. You incorporate that mid-season tournament next year, plus the All-Star game, then everybody will be more revamped up and excited about basketball. Yeah. Oh, and then lastly, I do want to say Stephen A. Smith was right, or whoever it was. No, it was Gilbert Arenas. No, it was Stephen A. Smith. He said that LeBron James killed the dunk contest by saying he didn't want to do it. He was real life the first big superstar to say, no, I'm not doing it, and no one's done it since. That's all I got to say about that.
What's your thoughts, yeah?
LeBron killed the dunk contest, and Kawhi Leonard killed the All-Star game. And this is my theory. What we seen in the last All-Star game was just a bunch of stars doing it because the fans asked them to do it, but they're not going to do it at the level that they're not going to do it at the level of entertainment based upon we don't want to get hurt. I'm saving my body for the for the playoffs, aka let's do a little load management in the middle of the year. That's a book from Kawhi. Hey, man, let me just sit out half the season and come back at the end of the season, be more fresh than everybody else, and let me go for a championship. So everybody else is taking that kind of thing, like, okay, we're gonna do the All-Star game, but okay, you going to shoot from way out here. Oh, I'm not gonna stop you from dunking it. Oh, I'm not gonna do anything. Ha ha ha. Just a whole bunch. Like, I watched this thing on YouTube yesterday. It was like a 2-on-2, like, and these dudes was like going at it. And then I'm looking at the All-Star game and I'm like, y'all ain't even entertained. And then no knock to the dude that won the dunk contest, because he came out and he did his thing, but he also did his thing because he's a dog and he has a chip on his shoulder. He's trying to get in the league. Wasn't he in the G League?
Yeah, he was a G League player that
G
won
League.
the contest.
So his whole thing was, I'm going to use this platform to propel me to get into the NBA. Why these other dudes are like, I'm in the NBA, I don't got to do nothing. And then with the whole nobody wanted to participate in the dunk contest, I take it back. I ain't gonna blame it on LeBron, but what I blame it on, first of all, I blame it on the judgment, on the judges, because everybody in their mama knows. Go back to my Chicago Bulls, but even though at that time he was on Minnesota, everybody in their mama knows Zach LaVine should have won that one dunk contest. And he got straight robbed. So you getting robbed at the dunk contest. And what could you do at the dunk contest now? You got to do something crazy. You got to be, shout out to B-Ruff. You got to be a B-Ruff professional dunker to be winning these dunk contests nowadays. You got to do something crazy. LeBron James don't got nothing crazy like that in his bag. Yeah, he can jump high, but he like almost 40 years old. He don't got nothing crazy like that. So that's the whole thing. The All-Star game, I don't know why they do it. And it's right after Super Bowl. It's just, it's not smart. It was trash. 100% trash.
But speaking of the judges, they had Karl Malone as one of the judges for the dunk contest. And he was met with jeers and boos because it came out during AllStar Weekend that he had a son with a 13-year-old girl at the age of 20, and the parents didn't want to ruin his career, so they didn't press charges on him. His son went on to play in the NFL and got his own story. But this whole thing is like, if the NBA is aware and knows about this, why are they choosing to put Karl Malone up there as a judge? You know, like when it comes to morality, you know, these people, they got an agenda and they don't really care, and it's crazy. So have y'all heard about this Karl Malone situation? Well, I know y'all both got daughters, man. So what's your thoughts on this grown man, 20-year-old man in college, getting a 13-year-old girl pregnant, and then he didn't pay any child support, even though he was making $3 million a year at the time. And then when he was asked about it this weekend, he basically was like, "Oh well, I forget the quote, but he was like, whatever it's whatever it's gonna be. That was my private life, and it is what it is." So he basically was like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. So what is your thoughts on Karl Malone impregnating a 13-year-old girl at 20 and all this coming out during All-Star Weekend?
I'll go first because I've always had the biggest issue with Karl Malone, but never knew how to address it because, like, starting off young me, loving the Lakers, Shaq and Kobe, right? You know, Eldon Campbell, Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, those days when everybody's like, this is the best five we've ever seen with the Lakers since Showtime. Karl Malone and John Stockton was beating us every year. They were making sure to go home as they went to lose against Chicago those 3 years in a row. I love number 32. Couldn't stand the fact that Karl Malone was number 32. I also did, and I don't mean for this to sound like a hate of Karl Malone. It's just I personally didn't like him as a basketball player for these reasons. I also didn't like the fact that with him playing for Utah, he came off like a very much non-pro black man when it came to like how he talked about people or talked about like issues in the world. One of the number one things I don't know if a lot of people are aware of, he was one of the first people to stand up and say that he couldn't play with Magic Johnson when Magic got diagnosed with HIV or AIDS, HIV, however you want to look at it. Like, I forgot which one. Was it HIV for Magic, right? Mm-hmm. right? So when he first contracted it, right, and everyone was skeptical about whether or not they would play because they haven't found out whether or not you could just play and it would transfuse through sweat. Karl Malone was one of the first players to say, I'm not playing on the same court as him. So I always felt like Karl Malone gave off like that. I don't want to say, I'm not a part of the crew or I'm not pro-black or whatever, but he came across like he didn't like anything that every other brother was doing. He liked to wear a lot of cowboy boots and cowboy hats and riding his horses, back then when that type of stuff wasn't really a part of the black culture. So it was always kind of standoffish, or even his signature dunk was just putting his hand behind his head and dunking. Like, that's not that flashy, but the mailman was the mailman. But now as a father, and hearing all this come out and the fact that his son made all the way to the NFL, that he had a professional career without his father's direct assistance or help, which we don't know. Like, he might not have given them any money. We don't know if he ever, picked up the phone to help him get a college scholarship or at least help him get on a team or anything like that. But 13 and 20, that's pedophilia. That's statutory rape. And knowing that and still putting him on national television as a judge, to me, is the biggest sign of disrespect, because you're saying we support this and now you do too. Now, I'm leaving it just like that, because if somebody, like, they blackballed Kobe. Like, everything with Kobe was terrible. He lost his Nike contract. He missed the first half of that game because of the trial, and he was booed every arena he was in for a very long time. But for this to have been something that was not necessarily hidden from the public, but came out before it all, like before All-Star game, he shouldn't have been on the panel unless they wanted everyone to feel that they support that.
What you got?
Man, I've been trying to wrap my head around this, and really the only thing I can come up with this situation is we don't know all the details, so we can't really, all we doing is assuming. And I say that because now a 13 and a 20-year-old, that is a huge difference, right? It's like, dang, that's a 20-year-old man and a 13-year-old girl. That is true. My daughter, I would be not supporting my daughter being in a relationship with a 20-year-old boy, right? Because our man, whatever you want to call it. Once again, I would not support my daughter being in a relationship with a 20-year-old man. But if you go and you say 58 and 32, everybody on the panel's cool with that, right? It's a 6 years difference. So I'm just playing the advocate a little bit, because we can't say it's rape, because if it was rape, see, the difference between Kobe and some of the other people that got charged for rape is the person came out and said, hey, you raped me, right? And they had to prove that they were
legally.
It is rape.
But legally it's rape.
So it's statutory rape.
No. He did not.
Statutory.
He was on. The parents did not charge him for rape. They said it was consensual between him and her, and so all they asked for him for was a DNA test to make sure he was the daddy. And when he was 20 years old, a couple years later, he got into the league and he paid them out. So all they wanted was the money. So therefore, how do we know that? We don't know all the details. So how we know that they did not set that up?
It's still statutory, but bro, it's still statutory rape in the eyes of the law, because he's over the age of 18 and she's under the age of 15. With him being over 18 or 16, was it 16 and 18 for it not to be statutory?
The age of consent in Louisiana at the time was 17 years old.
So why
So
didn't
she
he get in
was
trouble for rape?
so
Well, no, it's not that he got in trouble. It's just it is statutory rape, no
No,
different
I
than R.
said no.
Kelly and
I
Jay
said
Z.
I
because
Putting
the
up
said
with
no.
Aaliyah.
parents
Why didn't he get in trouble for rape then?
because
Oh
the
no,
parents
because they knew that he was gonna get paid.
yeah the
Because
parents
they were going
knew
to get paid.
yeah
Yeah,
the
and the
parents made
baby.
that decision. But
Yeah,
at the
because
same
she was
time,
under the age.
if I'm a 13-year-old girl having a baby with this 20-year-old, and my parents
Exactly.
make this decision for me, does that change the trauma that I've been through? Does that change the situation that I have to go through while raising this child? So is that because you paid my parents off, does that make it all right? No,
I didn't say. I'm
it's
not
not
saying
cool.
that. I'm just saying we don't know all the facts to the story. We all
Right, right.
assuming on what we assuming. I'm not saying.
Well, no,
Once again,
yeah.
that's why I go back and say, any 20-year-olds out there when my daughter's 13, don't even try it. It ain't going
Well,
down.
yeah.
You
Well,
know?
no, not saying that it's you. It's just like for me, I'm not saying if it was me because you know good damn well there's no way in hell that's happening. Not well, no, sorry, not here. But it's just when you think about like, okay, even if okay, like you said, we don't know the details, right? So the parents knew before it happened. It goes down, right? It goes down. They, they just start dating. Oh, she's pregnant now. It's like ugh, light bulb, right? There's a certain amount of money we're willing to accept that they'll probably be able to help us take care of her and the child for X amount of time moving forward.
But that's what
What?
I'm saying.
Right? No, I know, but
We on
but
Karl
what? But then,
Malone. Shouldn't
no,
we be
no,
on
no,
the
but
parents?
yes and no. He's still
Yes
accountable for having
and
sex
no.
with a child. I don't get the reason why I don't give him a pass is because if you're in college and you have to look at Karl Malone. Karl Malone's been built like a truck since he was 14 years old. There's no reason why you're entertaining a teenager, even if it was the opposite. Even if it was the girl who went to say his college game and was a fan and wanted to take a picture, and then they started to talk, and the parents didn't tell him initially that she was 13, and then like maybe because we don't have social media back then and all that. No, I get where I'm going with you. Like I'm with you, but I'm also holding him accountable for his actions. And then guess what? No, guess what? So the three adults in place are the ones who are at fault: mom, dad, and Karl Malone. And because I don't know mom and dad, I'm holding
we
Karl
don't know
Malone
Karl
accountable.
Malone.
I'm
We don't
holding
know
him
Karl
accountable.
Malone either. We
I
just
don't
know
like
his
him.
name.
No, I told you it started with this though. He already had 2 strikes.
I've been
This is
playing
what-
for y'all though.
Don't start that. Don't even.
Didn't he?
Okay.
He did. He sure
I
did.
know.
And they didn't win.
I know. That was the year that Melo was supposed to go to, to Detroit.
I think all adults in it like the parents don't get no pass from me. Like it's the same thing as R. Kelly went down and he got in trouble for what he got in trouble for, but R. Kelly didn't go down and get in trouble for Aaliyah. He got in trouble for all the other women. Let's get that right. He didn't get in trouble for Aaliyah. Why? He was dating Aaliyah. Like, I didn't know Aaliyah when she was out. I didn't know I always thought she was older. I always thought
Same
Aaliyah
here. Yeah.
20, like 20
Well,
something.
she's at least 18 because she was around all those grown adults on that scene.
No, Aaliyah was
Underage.
underage when she was with R. Kelly, and he got the consent from her parents. And why are parents out here? This is my question. Why are parents out here? Why are you soliciting your child for some money? Like, you set up your son. Well, I don't know the story with Karl Malone. I don't think they set up I don't know. But like the son is set up, there's a kid there. The parents got paid. Like the parents got paid and you solicited your child. That's on one hand. Or maybe Karl Malone just seen your little 13-year-old daughter and like Mayor said, he was like, oh, she a fan of mine. Okay. And he did his thing. And even still, the parents didn't come out and be like, nah, nigga, you going down for this. They're just like, just pay me.
You see, now that should be considered human trafficking. Parents that do this type of stuff, because as the woman that has to go through this and has this child at 13 and has to go through all that trauma, What about her?
Yeah.
Because your parents profited, what did they do? Go get a couple luxury cars and went to the
Mm-hmm.
casino? You
And
know,
we're talking about now, though, that luxury cars would be now. Like, I'm just thinking about if she was 13, that means she graduated high school while her baby graduated kindergarten or just started kindergarten. You know what I mean? Like the mental stress that was put on it. You hit the hammer on the head of the nail, though, Caleb. Human trafficking is it. And I mean, he comes back on national television and his son ended up in the NFL with
Come on.
his last name, like as if he was never, hey, Malone. I don't really see too many people with Malone. Are you related to Karl Malone?
He
Yeah, that's
looks
my
just
dad.
like him.
You know what I mean? Like, how does his existence go this long without any of us even hearing about it as far as up until this, All-Star game weekend?
yeah, that's real.
That's how it was paid.
Mm.
But at the All-Star game, it was still some people that was cheering for him. It was like a mixed crowd. Half was cheering, half was booing. And that lets you know the temperament of today's society
Yes,
is
sir.
that, you know, we basically in an anything goes type of, scenario, man. At this point, you know what I'm saying? Depending on where you stand and who you talking to. That's, I mean,
But the NBA couldn't have no backup judge. Like they didn't have, like if they knew about
there
it,
was
if
all
they
type
knew about this
of stars
beforehand,
and legends in the building.
you
Yeah,
could have
you
been
would
like,
have
"Hey
had
Shaq,
anybody.
hey
Yep,
Shaq,
anybody.
hey Karl Malone, you got to sit this one out." You like
Allen
you over
Iverson.
here? Hold up. Like Karl Malone, like the NBA knew about it before he judged that night, right?
Right,
Okay,
right.
if the NBA knew about it before he judged that night, you
Say it.
telling me Kyrie Irving got in trouble, got suspended, had to pay a whole bunch of money for a retweet. And he came out and he said, "Well, I didn't watch the whole thing. There's just like one little part that I liked." And he got in trouble and he's about to be banned from the league. And nobody wanted to pick him up. But you got a guy that having sex with a 13-year-old and you got him as a judge going 10. Yeah, that's a 10.
No,
When he seen
no,
that
no,
when he seen that
no.
little 13-year-old, ooh, that's a 10.
Oh, no, because like all jokes aside, Karl Malone was the worst judge. He almost acted like the boos and the cheers and jeers affected his scoring of the whole entire thing. Because somebody in the finals, the guy going against Mike McCollum, whatever his name is, he got 49 point something because Karl Malone was the only one that didn't give him a 50. You know what I mean? Where the dunk was a clear 50, but it's like he threw off everything. But yet there's nothing that the NFL and the NBA do that is not strategic, that is not for a reason. So
On the
it
last
was
note,
for a reason.
ladies and gentlemen, before Kayla moves to the next subject, on the last note, when it comes to Karl Malone, what have we learned today? We have learned that he never got a ring and he didn't use a ring for protection.
Oh,
No ring Malone. No ring Malone.
I know that it's
oh,
different times,
oh.
and back then, a lot of things used to be acceptable that would never, like, if you look at old TV shows and like old comedy specials, and you hear some of these jokes and see some of these scenes, what was that? What was her
Catch a
name?
predator.
Tiffany Haddish
Oh
got
yeah,
into
yeah.
it, a little debacle over an old skit that she had
Mm-hmm.
did, because you look at the temperament back then and then you look at it now and you're like, whoa, if you said that today, you would be canceled. They gave you 100 million for that joke back then. So it's like, it's crazy because they threw all the money at everybody for that type of content. And then as soon as the temperament changes and people awaken and people aren't aren't are less sensitive to what's going on, then it's like, oh nah, now we gotta wash our hands of everything. And as black entertainers, you see that big guy, they talking about how he's like what's his name, man? I can't think of him, man. But
Earthquake.
it's a lot of these influencers, especially now that reels are going on, that they're just doing all type of like Sambo clown shit to dance for the man to get their influencers up and get their likes up. And it's crazy how much like how much attention this shit gets. It's ridiculous, man. But let's get to this news, man. So Nipsey Hussle's killer, Eric Holder, he was sentenced today to 60 years in jail, man. So he will be spending 60 years in jail. It's crazy because they were both from 60 Crip. 60 seems to be the running theme. And now Eric Holder has been sentenced this year to 60 years in prison. Now, a lot of the times, these rappers' killers never get caught. But right now, we see this killer getting caught. We got the trial for XX Tentacion's killers, up right now. So it's not like the old days where these rappers got killed and, it was like murder mysteries. Nowadays, you kill a rapper, we finding you. The dude killed what's it called? PNB Rock and Roscoe's. They found him and his whole family and accomplices within like 72 hours. So it's not like the old days, man. Yeah, rappers is dying at a whole different, rate, but these cases are actually being solved, and the hip hop police is busy. But what are y'all thoughts on, Nipsey Hussle's killer, being sentenced to 60 years? And what does this do as far as like the state of hip hop?
I'm glad that
Go ahead, yeah.
I'm glad that they catching folks, and you do the crime, you're doing the time. I'm glad for that. Going back to your statement, Caleb, the only difference is, besides Nipsey, a lot of these other rappers, only reason why their killers are getting caught too is because, maybe the hit wasn't like ordered. You know what I mean? Like, you got I can't say it starts with a G. It's not from the G or from the federale. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you ain't gonna find a Tupac killer because Tupac, you were talking some stuff that we didn't like. You were airing some things out, and we didn't like that. So you ain't gonna find that killer. You ain't gonna find a Biggie killer. You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe you will towards the end of their life, and their record label ain't really what we thought it was. You ain't gonna be seeing this. But anyways, I'm glad that that's just like, I'm glad that there's some justice in the hip hop community where like it doesn't always look like the killers just get in the way. So 60 years, hey man, like you did it. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. I want to go ahead, Amrock.
No, go ahead, Mayor.
All right, well, because I know you're gonna hit this, you're gonna get deep. I'm gonna go. Y'all went here. I'm gonna try to dig a little deeper than y'all. I'm a little bit shocked at the sentence amount. I was someone that grew up watching like CSI Miami and Law and Order and stuff with my mom, and I thought it was funny. Even in the heat of the night, I don't know if you guys remember that show. Mm-hmm. You normally heard something, if I'm not mistaken, it was called like 25 to life. And anything over 25 years, you basically just tacked on that life part, and it kind of made you understand that you committed a crime of tremendous proportions, and you basically weren't going to see the light of day. 60 years, and like you said, Caleb, they both from 60s. That's kind of a slap in the face. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's like, I think about like me and my number 32 because I grew up playing number 32 because I love basketball and, I love Magic Johnson. And then my mom died at 32. Then it's like, oh man, that's messed up. Now, if you saw me turn around and did anything with that number and defaced who I am or my mother's legacy, it's like, bro, wasn't that something that like triggered you before? So it's like, if that's something that resonates personally to me, how do you throw out gangster affiliation across the entire globe? Like, oh yeah, these two from the same hood. Let's go ahead and, third one's a charm almost. Like the 2-for-1 scenario. One killed one, the other one goes to jail for life, and there's a number to let you know what crew it was that it happened with. So that part I just don't really like. But outside of that, I do somewhat respect the fact that rappers, killers are getting dealt with or punished for their crimes that they're committing, because our culture is being used to push a different agenda anyway. So maybe this helps some people who are a little bit more naive about what's right and what's wrong to not necessarily jump and do something wrong like that and not think that there's a consequence behind it.
Yeah, you guys are out there on the West Coast. You guys are more, in tune. I'm sure in tune, as it was going down, as things were happening out there. To me, it's unfortunate, that another black man killed another black man, regardless of, we all know who Nipsey was, but regardless of that, it's still unfortunate that we're still out here killing each other. It's also great. I mean, listen, if he was found guilty, he should serve the sentence. You do the crime, you should do the time. But I think there's just a bigger conspiracy here with killing rappers, especially a rapper like a Nipsey Hussle, like a Tupac, like a Biggie, like a whole bunch of other MCs out there who didn't want to go, who wanted to go against the grain, who didn't want to, as they say, join that group, as we all may know. Nipsey, I believe, was one of those guys. He was about to do a documentary on Dr. Sebi about, HIV and the cure of AIDS that he had. So, he was, in my opinion, I believe he was targeted, just like many of these rappers out here, mostly black males out here succeeding, earning a living. Like in the case of Young Dolph, actually, seriously taking care of his family and taking care of his community. He gets taken out. Pop Smoke, another MC on the rise, he gets taken out. Now we have Offset. I'm sorry, Takeoff. It's just very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that this continues to happen. I don't know when it will stop, but there's a bigger conspiracy here, behind a lot of these rappers being taken out. And that's potent throughout our history, not just with rappers. I mean, they took out, Sam Cooke. They took out, a whole bunch of different musicians, or if not take them out directly, force them to go mentally insane, i.e. a Billie Holiday, right? They've been targeting black musicians for a very long time, because that platform is a huge platform that resonates around the world. You can speak to people through music, as Nipsey and others did, right? And exposing the truth about what's going on in the world. And so when you do that, just like any other prominent activist, that's come out. I've just finished watching, Malcolm X, with Denzel in '92, right? Like when when those guys speak out, guys and gals speak out, normally they are taken out. And there's no difference now with the rapper today. So it's just, it's very unfortunate. But again, we have to start talking about the bigger conspiracy here. What's really controlling these forces, as they say, because that there's that whole situation, man. Like the man's helping out his community. He's trying to do better for his life, better for his family. Really about being an entrepreneur, really about about your business, handling your finances. And then just it's unfortunate that another black man takes him out when he should have been looking at him more as an example of someone to follow. So it's just very unfortunate.
Yeah, one thing I want to touch on that you brought up was the Dr. Sebi documentary. Because as you remember, right after Nipsey's passing, Nick Cannon came out and said that he was going to finish the documentary. But then what happened to Nick Cannon? Oh, he got canceled. All his shows, well, he was in the hospital with lupus. His life was on the line. And then now he's back. He's got his shows back. He's back in the limelight. But has he mentioned the Dr. Sebi documentary again? Not a peep, not a word. So, you know what I'm saying? So when you allude to that bigger agenda, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can call it a conspiracy if you want to, but when it's right in front of your eyes, man, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta pay attention.
It is what it is. You gotta call a spade is a spade, man.
Yep.
But let's get to this politics, man. So Joe Biden does a surprise announcement from the Ukraine announcing that we are going to give them aid. At the same time, Vladimir Putin is giving an anti-speech against Biden's speech, saying that he don't care about America giving aid to Ukraine. He's still finna go over there and take it. And we over here sitting here as Americans listening to Biden tell us that we're going to pay more taxes so that we can provide welfare for Ukrainian citizens. This is wild. And this is all before an election year in 2024. What are y'all thoughts on Joe Biden giving all this aid to Ukraine, and now we got to pay more taxes, and they're going to take more money out of our checks so that we can provide welfare for Ukraine? What are y'all thoughts?
Yeah, it's not only that we have to pay taxes, right? Ukrainian immigrants right now could come over and qualify for certain benefits that, you or I, or, or rather our, our grandmothers or grandfathers can't qualify for. They can immediately come over and qualify for those type of benefits. It's absolutely absurd. And this is a prime reason why we need to change the political structure in the political context. There should be no way that we, as the American taxpayers, who, by the way, people, we pay the presidents and the vice presidents and the secretary of states and all other secretaries and all the other we pay their salaries currently as taxpayers. If y'all do not know that, we pay their salaries as we do pay the police officers, the fire, all of that taxpayers' money. Okay, that's why at least you get 30 to 40% of your taxes taken out, and that's distributed to multiple sources, right? But it's just it's absolutely absurd that I, as a taxpayer, or one of you three, right, cannot sit here and say, no, we don't want that. It's just automatically going to be deducted to help a foreign country who, by and large, for all we know, for all that they tell us, that Russia decided to attack because of oil and control and this and that. Okay, well, Russia decided to attack that nation, right? And there have been plenty of times where countries attacked African nations. I don't see Biden helping those nations, right?
So let me interject right there on the oil situation. So when Biden came out, he said that we will no longer drill for fossil fuels in America, and that by the end of his 8 years, that America will no longer be drilling on American soil for oil. So you know what everybody else did when he got elected? All the oil refineries stopped drilling in America because they're like, we're not going to put all these expenses up if you're going to shut us down in 6 months. So we're going to shut ourselves down now, and we're going to relocate out overseas and drill over there. So now he's out here giving the State of Union address, and he's over here saying, hey, we still need you to drill for the next 10 years. Well, no, if you're shutting us down, then why are we going to continue to drill? We're going to pick our equipment up and we're going to go drill overseas. So now we don't have any American oil being brought in because all the Republicans own the oil rigs and they're not drilling in America. So now we were relying on places like Ukraine because we don't have the Middle East. We pulled out of Afghanistan. We didn't get the Middle Eastern gas, oil that we went over there for, that we went to war for. You seen when Biden pulled out, he left tanks and guns and missiles and everything. He just grabbed the people and left. And so,
yeah, look, that's a great yeah, that's a great point, and it circles back to this whole thing is about money, right? You know, some way, somehow, the Republicans and the Democrats and the billionaires will profit off of sending taxpayers' dollars to the Ukraine. Think about that. They're already sending our money over there. Then they're going to tell us you have to pay for us sending your money over there. What type of shit is that? That's absolutely absurd. And to your point, Caleb, it all comes back to the dollars, to the money. How can we? What is it going to benefit us by saying, oh, well, we can make a certain, whatever percentages that they're going to be able to split up and make? Best believe there is a profit that the Democrats, the billionaires, the Republicans, everybody involved is getting from this.
It's also
we're not.
Well, I mean, we're too far at the bottom to even understand completely how much is really being taken out from the top. Because I'm thinking about just the numbers, like you said, like what if it's 30 or 40%? You know what I mean? Like hypothetically speaking, if it's 30 or 40% already going to help aid other countries, why not make our middle and lower class give 110 or 115%? When that additional percent off of 100 isn't even out of our pockets anyway. You know what I mean? Like it's everything from, financial aid for kids to go back to school right now, or just college tuitions. It could be taken from all different pots, so to speak. But I think it's also kind of funny that this was being said while Biden is there, correct? So Biden makes his State of the Union address, right? And then he steps back, and then Putin steps up, right? And he's talking in his Ukrainian.
No, so these are Putin does his address from Russia,
right?
So
but where was Biden? Wasn't Biden?
Biden jumps on Air Force One, drives to Ukraine out of nowhere. Nobody announces. Basically, takes over the broadcast channels and gives an address from Ukraine, telling the American people that they're going to take money out our checks to pay for Ukraine welfare.
And we're
right at the same time that Biden goes live, Putin goes live from Russia and saying, we don't care what America talking about. We finna go to Ukraine and take everything.
Wow. Okay, well, that took what I processed to another level. So basically, we're not second tier. We're third. We're like the bottom. We're the side chick that
we owe so much money to China, and Biden has been in bed with China, and his son has been taking money from corporations with China and doing drugs with it. I remember I was watching the interview with my wife, and Joe Biden's son said he was on crack so bad that he found a piece of old Parmesan and thought it was crack and smoked it. So this shit is ridiculous. Like, and that's the president's son. I know it's not the president, but that's the president's son. This is what we're dealing with. So, as far as politics, like, Joe Biden is one of the dirtiest politicians out there, man. He might be dirtier than Trump. And this shit is ridiculous that the DOJ is like covering up for all his articles. Do you even hear about anything else about all the classified documents? Then you got UFOs. You shoot down 4 things in 1 week. Only one of them was a balloon. The other 3 were UFOs. So now you're admitting that we have UFOs. I don't know what I don't know what to make of all
I
this.
told y'all from the beginning. Now, I know I'm probably not talking to none of y'all, but if you are watching this broadcast right now, I just want to know. I just want to know for the people that vote. I got a couple questions. Okay. Question number one. My first question is to everybody that voted for Biden. Like, if you voted for Biden, if you went on your ballot and you like, fuck Trump, Biden, right? And now you got him in office. Do any of you guys ever go just like, damn, I messed up. I shouldn't have voted for this man. Okay, that's my first question. Second question is, you want to do stuff for Ukraine, but if I go to Detroit right now, I should be afraid of what water I drink.
Or Mississippi.
Or Mississippi. Oh, wait. You want to give money to Ukraine, but I believe in Ohio, they got a derailment that you haven't even taken care of? Oh, okay. But you want to give money that way, but you don't want to take care of here. Got it. I told y'all he was smoking Joe. Smoke screens. And then, like we over here see Karl Malone does nothing for my family, right? Like what Karl Malone did in his past, it is his past. You right, Karl Malone. It is your past, right? Well, I'm going to leave you alone, Karl Malone. But guess what? Joe Biden's been fucking all of us. He don't care what your age is. You want to go statutory? Hey, Joe Biden is in us right now, and he's going deep. No Vaseline on. I told y'all a couple weeks ago, he going deep all on us. Take the taxpayers out. Why aren't you taking $1 billion? Like, I ain't making $1 billion. Once you get the LeBrons, no, you don't want to get them. You ain't going to them going, hey, once you go to Amazon that don't pay taxes. Oh no, you ain't going to them neither, huh? You gonna come to us where we struggling. But you know why he doing that? What was last year and the year before that? COVID. What y'all get? What y'all get from the government? Y'all got checks. They need that money back.
No, we didn't get them checks from Biden, though. The first check
don't still owe me.
The first check came directly from Trump.
Yeah,
they didn't want to
approve the money.
And Trump
the government
said,
getting their money back.
Money my damn self.
The government getting their money back, and they giving it overseas instead of helping us.
And it's crazy because no matter what we talk about in politics, it all boils down to nothing being done for Black people in America. No matter what the topic is, no matter what the conversation is, the conversation is never America is doing this for Black people. And Trump was the only motherfucker that came with a plan that said, hey, y'all reelect me, I will do this specifically for Black people. And going forward, if you don't got a fucking plan for Black people, don't expect a fucking vote from none of us niggas. And that's just how I feel. If you don't got something specifically outlined during your campaign that's saying, hey, Black people, this is what I have for you, then I don't feel like we should vote for any of these niggas going on.
Heck no. They do that. They do that every election. They say they're gonna have something for us, and then we go, oh yeah, let's vote for that person. Or oh man, they got a female kind of Black, but she's mixed, but she's still Black, so she look Black. She look like us. Let's vote for them. Or are they gonna say, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black, or whatever the case may be, and then we jump on it, and then they go, got you. No, they need to sign something before we do it.
Exactly, and that's the point. The reason why they can do that is because they know we're all not united, as the Asians are, as the Hispanics are, as the Jews are, as
every other nationality but us.
Yeah, we're not united. So he can literally go on Breakfast Club and say, hey, if you don't vote for me, Black people, you are not Black. And we all and my VP, by the way, is going to be a Black woman, and so we all just go, oh, okay, yay, and but yeah, to y'all's point, like, there has to be something where, okay, these are the 10 things, right? Where, if it's only 70% of us, right, as Black voters come together and say, these are the 10 things that we need. And we go to all of the presidential candidates or whomever and say, look, can you deliver on these needs? And to Ya's point, we need this signed, and you will get all of our 70% of our votes. Now, the other 30% Black people, I mean, it is what it is, but that's what needs to happen at this point, right? Like, because, just to say, okay, yeah, you as the American taxpayers, again, we're already sending your money over to the Ukraine. Now you're going to have to pay for your money that we're sending over there. Again, absolutely absurd. When people really need to think and dissect, what they are really saying. And it's not just Biden. It's probably Trump was in that boat too. It's all of them, right? It's all of them that are scheming, conniving. And this is not the first time that they've done this. Like, this has been repeated throughout American history at this point. But it's just about other people, as they say, waking up or getting woke or whatever the fuck we need to call it. It's just about seriously dissecting what they are telling us and going, does that really make sense? Does that really make sense? And if you have to question it, then there needs to be some type of change, some type of reconstruction, some type of demand that we require. It has to be. Otherwise, this will continue to happen. We have to be the generation that in some way somehow changes. Again, as I always say, I don't have all the answers, but this shit is absurd.
On my last note, though, if sometimes, like when empty threats, about like
hollow threats, yep,
and stuff like that are things that really don't matter, are like when you say certain things that person knows, like if my son or daughter says something, I'm like, well, that's going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me. So, okay, you can say what you want, or you can go through with it with you if you want. We have came out and we have said, defund the police, right? And maybe the government's like, go ahead, defund it. It's going to hurt y'all more than it's going to hurt us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we go defund the president? Because this nigga here, like, why don't we, like, we need to, let's go bigger than the police. We need to start defunding this government because they own some stuff that.
Yeah, but that's also because we're the 30% right now that's actually aware of what's going on, and we're trying to help push the different narrative. The 70% that's getting brainwashed isn't even paying attention. They're the ones that is grabbing. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. I don't care. I just want to turn up and have fun. Oh, you don't like us? That's fine. I don't care. I love me, baby. Those are the ones that are allowing this type of stuff to continue to happen because they're refusing to wake up, and not the woke mindset, but just like, hey, what exactly did your kid do today at school? What did they eat? What is happening on the day in and day out basis, instead of trying to fast forward Monday to Friday so you can be unconscious Friday night and Saturday night and then recover Sunday before doing this whole process all over again.
But you won't even have the money. You won't even have the money to be able to turn up Friday and Saturday.
No, you have to support me. No, but you're my brother. So since I ain't got it, you got to have it for me. What you talking about? I'm coming to you so you can turn up for us both. Like,
no, they're taking it out of my taxes.
So y'all bringing up some good points. One thing that I want to bring up when you say defund the police, one thing that we talked about 2 years ago was qualified immunity. And this is why you can't sue these police officers, and they have this qualified immunity. We don't have to defund the police. We have to get rid of qualified immunity, because then they can be held accountable for the things that they do. As long as they got qualified immunity, as soon as they put the badge on, why would they give a fuck what they do? We don't need to defund them. It's simple. Get rid of qualified immunity and see how these police act. And then I don't know, man. This whole shit, man. As far as black people in America, Amrock, you brought up like black people need 10 things that we like. Okay, this is what we want as a people, even if we don't all agree, because we're not gonna all agree. because most niggas just want reparations so that they can go wear a Ferragamo belt. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't know
yeah,
how to dream.
yeah, no, and you're right. It's just the. I say that to say we have to start somewhere. I'm not saying that has to be the end all be all. And I saw the question down there as well that came up. Yeah, it's just a start. That's what I mean. Right. Yeah, you guys are absolutely right. Like black people, again, that was my point. We're all over the place right now. The only way that this shit's gonna actually change is when again we all come together like the other nationalities and communities do. We do not. So that's my point, right? We have to start somewhere. I say 10 things. Of course, the list is probably a fucking 100 or 1,000, but let's start somewhere. If we don't start somewhere, if we don't start small and then try to build from that, I mean, again, right, boycotting, riding the bus, all of those things, that started small and then it grew over time, right? That's what I mean. Like, we have to start somewhere. Black Panther Party started in one small office and it spread all over to the whole, all the urban cities across America, right? You started small, you had to start somewhere. So that's my point with that. Yeah, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's just as you were saying that. As you were saying that, it was like, oh, but we need more leaders, right? We need more active leaders to get more people in different areas to do the right thing. But then within our podcast tonight, we talk about Nipsey and how his killer is getting 60. So then I knew where you were going with it, y'all. It's like the more that we come together, or the more that people decide to wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to make a step in the right direction. I'll be the example. If you don't have anyone you believe in me, because I believe in us, let's move forward together. As soon as that's said too many times, that one leader is now gone. Yep. And then if you see more collective leaders happen at once, there will be no way to then kind of, like you can cut the head off a snake and the body will fall, right? But if we each are heads of our own snakes and we're all collectively going in the same direction, there's no way the end goal doesn't happen, because you can't stop everyone going in the same direction. But that's the thing. It's like everyone's looking like this. Okay, I'm looking at Caleb now. And now that we're all looking at Caleb, something goes wrong over here. And now I can't trust Caleb's word because I'm distracted by what just went wrong over here. Then, Lord forbid, something went wrong with Caleb. Now I'm taking even more steps back because I'm not accepting that I was obviously on the right path. And this is a sign of being on the right path. This is a sign that I'm on the wrong path, and let me regress and go back the opposite direction. They're afraid to succeed and afraid to fail all at the same time. Yeah. My bad, go ahead. Talk about taxes.
Oh no, that's it. That's it. It don't matter what we do. At the end of the day, hey, guess what? March is around the corner, everybody. You're going to be paying them taxes. Yeah.
That's real, man. I remember Ice Cube came out with the contract for black people.
Yep.
And a lot of people were opposed to that. And then P. Diddy, he was supposed to be starting a political party, but I don't think that he was the right person to be trying to start a black political party. But I like the thought, but I don't think you're the right person to do it. And then Killer Mike, they started the black-owned bank, but I don't know what the process is with that or how, but Killer Mike did that show on Netflix where if you had to go somewhere and buy only black for 24 hours, you couldn't survive because even if it's black-owned, the products aren't black produced. So you're importing that from them and just selling it in a storefront. So black people in America, we don't produce anything but entertainment, and we sell the rights to that in 10 seconds. So we got to get it together as a people, man. Let's get some shout-outs before we get up out of here.
Shout out to Joe Biden. Shout out to Joe Biden. We appreciate you, Joe. I mean, every time I'm getting on this podcast, man, I'm leaving with my butt hurting, Joe. Leave me alone, Joe. Leave me alone. Shout out to you, Joe. I hope the world knows. Once again, the question is, everybody that voted for Joe Biden, are you happy? You must like it in the booty because Joe is freaking us all up. But shout out to the podcast, all the bros on here. I appreciate you guys. I mean, it's always amazing talking to you guys. Like I always say, Caleb, thank you for always giving us the knowledge. You brothers keep doing what you're doing. We all gonna be paying taxes together, but we gonna make it.
Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to man, you threw me off with that, with Joe. I want to shout out. What do I really want? You know what? I want to shout out I want to shout out everybody who's not giving up. As we keep talking about these things that are being negative, if you're getting up every day trying to be positive, trying to do what's best for you, shout out to you. So once again, shout out to all three of you guys because I know you guys are doing it. Shout out to y'all. And Jess for my cool hoodie. You know, you missed out. Caleb was like, man, where's my hoodie at? Even Murdoch asked for a hoodie. So shout out to y'all as always. The fam they be taking care of me. Get off the boat of average, baby. Be great.
I got you, Caleb.
Hey, shout out to PolitiKan. Again, an amazing platform. Shout out to all you guys as well and everything that you guys are doing. Shout out to the CIAA. They are doing their tournament here in Baltimore this week. All the HBCU's tournament. So it's pretty special, bringing a lot of black dollars into the city. As needed. Hopefully they go out there and support all the black businesses within Baltimore, within the DMV. I guess a word, I would just encourage people, man, through everything that's going on, COVID really shut a lot of things down as far as travel. So, now that you can travel, I encourage a lot of people to get out there. Actually, just traveled out of the country. Myself went up to Toronto. Great experience. Nice people up there, just great vibes. And I just encourage people to just get out and travel as much as you can. Don't let, what's happening, just keep you in a box, right? There's still a world outside of the United States, outside of your city, outside of your neighborhood. So if you can get out there and travel, I encourage everybody to do that. Again, shout out to you brothers, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate all y'all brothers for joining me on another week, another conversation, man. We learn every time we get on here. This shit is therapy, man, and the message, whether you know it or not, man. A lot of people, I run into people all the time that tell me, like, hey, man, I check y'all out all the time. And our influence is steadily growing, and you never know who got their eyes on us, man. So, man, shout out to y'all, man. Keep kicking that knowledge, man, and thank y'all for joining me every week, man. Shout out to Murdoch on the boards, man, doing this thing all the time, man. Murdoch behind the scenes, killing it as usual. Shout out to my wife. And, man, I've been down the last, I would say, this last 2 weeks been hard on me. News with my father, he's been in and out the hospital. It's been crazy. It's like every time you think something's right, it ain't. But you know what? I walk in faith in every other aspect of my life. So at this point, I'm going to have to pick my head up and I'm going to have to walk in faith in this too. So, you know what? God got me and God got my pop. So I ain't even going to worry about it no more. I ain't going to stress it. I'm going to just keep going. And I know what's going to be is going to be, man. I can't affect that. I can't change it. And, you grow through what you go through. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what you're going to do with your life, but I'm going to get to it, man. PolitiKan the podcast. We up out of here.
You want to stop me? You're going to have to fucking kill me!
Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in the tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast at the red carpet like the famous home.